팔이요. 팔 보여주세요. 팔.
It's officially spooky season, and the K-drama world isn't holding back. We're counting down from the mildly creepy to the downright terrifying, so the deeper you go, the darker it gets. Here are the 9 scariest Korean dramas to watch this Halloween. Well, that is if you dare. 9. All of Us Are Dead.
네가 손수건으로 문지르기 전까지는 괜찮았어.
이나야 너 진짜.
In All of Us Are Dead, a normal high school becomes the epicenter of a viral outbreak, one that turns students into raging, fast-moving flesh eaters within seconds. Trapped inside their own school, a group of teens must band together, fight for survival, and make impossible choices as the world outside and inside falls apart. Led by breakout performances from Park Ji-hoo, Yoon Chan-young, Cho Yi-hyun, and Lomon, the cast delivers raw, emotional depth that elevates the horror. Every friendship, crush, and rivalry is pushed to its limit as infected classmates turn on each other, sometimes literally. Claustrophobic hallways, desperate rooftop escapes, and gut-wrenching betrayals fuel each episode. And just when you think they've found safety, the virus finds a way in. If you want adrenaline-pumping horror wrapped in high school heartbreak, All of Us Are Dead is a must-watch. It'll leave your pulse racing and your trust issues worse than ever. 8. Island. Set against the windswept cliffs and misty forests of Jeju Island, Island turns Korea's beloved vacation spot into a battleground for hellish forces. The story follows Ban, a demon hunter cursed with immortality, played by Kim Nam-gil, Won Mi-ho, a chaebol heiress with a forgotten destiny, played by Lee Da-hee, and Father Johan, a sharp-tongued exorcist with a dark past, played by Cha Eun-woo. Together, they face off against lust-driven spirits and a centuries-old cult hell-bent on awakening an ancient evil. Visually, Island is a feast of nightmare fuel. The demon designs are grotesque, fluid, and violent, blending body horror with mythological dread. Fights are brutal, blood flows freely, and lurking beneath every exorcism is a deeper terror, the question of what it means to be possessed, not just by spirits, but by guilt, rage, or fate. And if Season 1 serves up the spectacle, Season 2 digs deeper into the rot, with twisted cult rituals, human sacrifices, and a mythology that grows more chilling by the episode. If you love mythology-infused action horror that's equal parts brutal and beautiful, Island will keep you up, and probably praying, all night. 7th Kingdom.
구가 있을 것 같으냐? 이 안에 시신이 몇 구가 있건 몇 식구가 있건 그 누구도 내게 아무 말도 못하게 만드는 것.
In feudal Korea, the dead don't stay buried. Set during the Joseon dynasty, Kingdom blends political intrigue with full-scale zombie terror. Ju Ji-hoon stars as Crown Prince Lee Chang, who uncovers a conspiracy inside the royal court just as a horrifying plague begins to spread. One that reanimates the dead and turns entire villages into blood-drenched nightmares. But this isn't your typical zombie apocalypse. There are no guns, just swords, bows, and desperate strategy against waves of the undead. Fast, ravenous, and unstoppable once night falls. Visually, Kingdom is breathtaking. Sweeping landscapes, traditional hanboks soaked in blood, and moonlit chases through fog-drenched forests make every scene feel like a nightmare painted on silk. And the tension never lets up. Bae-doona plays a sharp and fearless physician, while Ryu Sung-ryong brings chilling presence as the scheming chief state counselor, both adding depth to a story that balances horror with real political weight. The horror here isn't just the zombies, it's power, greed, and the terrifying decisions people make to survive. Add in jaw-dropping practical effects, brutal fight choreography, and the eeriest night scenes in any K-drama, and you've got a historical horror epic that rivals Hollywood. 6. Sweet Home.
팔이요. 팔 보여주세요. 팔.
If you thought monsters only existed in nightmares, Sweet Home will make you think again. Set inside the crumbling green home apartment complex, this Netflix hit follows a group of survivors trapped as the world outside descends into chaos. and a mysterious infection begins turning people into grotesque, flesh-hungry creatures that reflect their deepest desires. At the center is Cha Hyun-soo, played by Song Kang, a grief-stricken loner whose quiet despair becomes the group's unlikely last hope. Each episode escalates from claustrophobic horror to all-out apocalypse, blending visceral body horror, psychological dread, and K-drama emotion in ways that keep your heart racing. Across its 3 seasons, Sweet Home expands from a desperate apartment siege to an all-out war for humanity's survival, introducing chilling new monsters, morally gray characters, and a haunting question: what truly makes someone human? If you're looking for a Halloween binge that mixes fear, tragedy, and breathtaking visuals, Sweet Home is it. Just a warning, you might want to keep the lights on for this one. 5. Gyeongseong Creature. Set in 1945, during the final days of Japanese-occupied Korea, Gyeongseong Creature blends historical tragedy with monster horror in one of the most unnerving K-dramas in recent years. Park Seo-joon stars as Jang Tae-sung, a wealthy pawnshop owner with a sharp tongue and sharper instincts, while Han So-hee plays Yoon Chae-ok, a fierce tracker with a personal mission. Together, they uncover a secret underground lab where human experiments have given birth to twisted, parasitic abominations, monsters that meld flesh, bone, and something far darker. The body horror here is gruesome, but it's the backdrop of war, oppression, and desperation that makes it truly disturbing. As Japanese forces tighten their grip, the lines between man, monster, and machine blur into something hauntingly inhuman. Shot in dim alleys, abandoned hospitals, and shadowy basements, every frame of Gyeongseong Creature feels soaked in dread. If you're into historical horror with sci-fi flair, Gyeongseong Creature delivers a gut punch of gore, tragedy, and tension. 4. Save Me. Think ghosts are scary? Try surviving a cult. Save Me trades supernatural horrors for something far more disturbing: the darkness of blind faith and human manipulation. When a grieving family moves to what seems like a peaceful small town, their teenage daughter Im Sang-mi, played by Seo Ye-ji, becomes ensnared by a charismatic cult leader who promises salvation but hides pure evil beneath his holy mask. What unfolds is a harrowing fight for survival and sanity, as Sang-mi's old classmates risk everything to pull her out of the cult's grip. There are no monsters here, just the terrifying reality of how easily pain and desperation can be exploited. Seo Ye-ji's performance is hauntingly raw, so much so that she later revealed she was plagued by nightmares and sleep paralysis every night for 4 months while filming. That's how deeply Save Me gets under your skin. If you want a psychological thriller that feels all too real, Save Me is the kind of horror that lingers long after the screen fades to black. 3. Strangers from Hell.
새로 오신 분이죠?
In Strangers from Hell, a struggling writer named Yoon Jong-woo, played by Im Si-won, moves into a rundown Goshiwon, a cheap, claustrophobic dorm-style housing unit in Seoul. What starts as uncomfortable quickly turns sinister, as he realizes his neighbors aren't just weird. They're watching him, and they're not quite right. Every creaking hallway, forced smile, and flickering light adds to the mounting dread. The Goshiwon becomes a pressure cooker, trapping Jong-woo as his mental state unravels and paranoia turns into cold, suffocating fear. Lee Dong-wook gives a haunting performance as Seo Moon-jo, a seemingly charming dentist with a terrifying edge. His calm demeanor masks something monstrous, and his presence alone is enough to raise goosebumps. There are no ghosts here, no jump scares, just the slow, relentless realization that you're surrounded by evil and no one's coming to save you. The horror isn't supernatural, it's psychological, physical, and all too human. Dark, disturbing, and shot with a creeping tension that never lets up, Strangers from Hell is the kind of show that gets under your skin and stays there. Watch it alone, if you dare. 2. Revenant. If you want a modern ghost story with psychological teeth, this is your next obsession. In Revenant, a haunted antiques appraiser named Gu San-yong, played by Kim Tae-ri, becomes the unwilling host to a vengeful shaman spirit that jumps between bodies and leaves a trail of violent, unexplained deaths in its wake. To survive, she teams up with a skeptical detective and folklore expert, Gyeongseong, played by Oh Jung-se, who sees the spirit for what it really is and what it's capable of. The result is a chilling mix of ghost story, exorcism thriller, and psychological horror, deeply rooted in Korean mythology. The show delivers on jump scares, ritual scenes, and ghostly whispers that sneak up on you in the quietest moments and make you dread every shadow. What sets Revenant apart is its constant sense of paranoia. You're never sure who's possessed, who's cursed, or when the spirit will strike next. Every possession feels personal, and every exorcism feels like it's already too late. And trust us, after a few episodes, you'll be hearing whispers too. 1. Hellbound. What if angels came to Earth? Not to save you, but to drag you to hell. In Hellbound, an unexplainable supernatural phenomenon grips South Korea. Random people start receiving eerie decrees, prophecies telling them the exact date and time of their death. And when that moment arrives, massive black smoke-like creatures appear out of nowhere to violently burn them alive, leaving nothing but ash. As the world watches these horrifying divine punishments, chaos takes over. Fear spreads faster than reason, and a religious cult rises to twist the panic into power. Truth gets buried under hysteria, faith turns into fanaticism, and no one knows who's next. Directed by Gyeongseong, the mind behind Train to Busan, Hellbound stars Yoo Ah-in as a charismatic yet chilling cult leader, and Kim Hyun-ju as a human rights lawyer trying to untangle the madness. It's equal parts graphic horror and psychological dread, raising chilling questions about morality, justice, and blind faith. The scariest part? No one knows if the condemned are truly guilty, or if guilt even matters. That's what makes Hellbound the #1 on this list. Think something else deserves the top spot? Drop your pick in the comments. I'm curious to see who's brave enough to disagree. And while you're here, ever wondered which K-drama stars made it all the way to Hollywood? Some of these actors are so good. It's like they were born for the big screen, especially in a horror film. Click on this video to find out which Korean actors have crossed over and left their mark in Hollywood. You might be surprised who made the list.